Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 11:53 a.m. on the 13th of December 2023. I've been down to pick up my dry cleaning, and boy, what a shock did I get when I put my card to pay on the FPOS. $97 for my 3 corsets. They told me it'd be about $15 or $20 each maximum. It lied. The world is full of con artists, trickster spirits and liars, isn't it? I'm so fucking livid now. Because, $100 is a lot to throw away on dry cleaning. If I'd known it was going to be that expensive, I would have just done one at a time, stretched it out. But anyway, I have clean corsets now, ready for the big dance on Friday night, and I'm going to have a wonderful, fabulous time, as I always do when I go out. I make a point of having a wonderful, fabulous time, because my life is so small and narrow and insignificant and minuscule, and my one night out on a Friday is my one night out to celebrate life, l'chaim. So after the shock of the dry cleaning, I went and put the corsets in my car and went and had a coffee at Amanda's little kiosk, and she, I told her that Beauregard had passed away in August. She got quite a shock because I haven't seen her in the last 4 months. And, told her how I got tuned up romantically by some guy just after my dog died, when I was raw and wide open and looking for connection. I must have been a bit vulnerable and pathetic, really. That should not have happened, but it is what it is. It didn't lead to anything of a sexual nature, because the guy was scared or not really interested. Just some fucking game. I can never work out what the game is, what they get out of all this tuning me up and playing me for an idiot. I realise he genuinely had COVID recently, but so did I, and I soldiered through it without going to complete. Well, I guess I did decompensate, didn't I? I guess let's be fair. We've both been very naughty. We need a good spanking, both of us. Bang our heads together. But it's over now and life goes on. I need a real man with real heart and real intentions. Keep up, show up, stay up. Not living in fetishizing fairyland with the rest of the fucking pixie folk. If I want to live in fairyland, I'll open up a fairy story and sit in my garden and read fairy tales to myself and the fairies in my garden, and throw my head back and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh until I cry and pee myself. But we won't be doing the peeing ourselves, but maybe the crying. But I'm too angry right now. I'm angry about all the games that have been played, all the bullshit. My dead dog I can't get back because, it was hard telling Amanda because she was very fond of Beauregard. And all the teasing, all the manipulations, all the falsity, all the false promises. It's horseshit, all of it. Anyway, I'm off to my psychiatrist for my regular debrief this afternoon, and he was right to tell me to give him the flick, and I held on against my own doctor's advice. The last couple of weeks I held on because I figured, well, give people a chance to pull themselves together, right? But no, alas no. I don't know why I even liked this one. I only met him once. Don't know what that was about. It's madness. Madness on both our parts. Anyway, Friday night I will be dancing, rejoicing my life, what's left of it. Literally sparking myself like the beautiful phoenix bird I am, directly out of the raw and ragged, fresh embers and ashes, conflagrating myself back into life as I do. as I do every fucking weekend. It's almost it's an act of defiance, but it's also a magical, beautiful practice that gives me hope and releases stress and helps me get through the following week. Because unlike this man that tuned me up like a slippery, side-winding serpent slithering across the deserts, came in sideways, unsuspecting, I was thinking about it. If he'd approached me at the Livewire bar back in the day, or even here at the Brooklyn Standard, and slithered around me the way he has, I just would have said, "Can you fuck off?" Like, I don't even know how he got through all those, my usual shields of protection. So it must have been meant to be, right? Must have been meant to be, to just see the spirits probably wanting to see if I am genuinely, heartfeltly ready and wanting to get into a relationship again after all these many years. It must have been some kind of test. And obviously, on some levels I failed it, and some levels I passed it, because I know now all the men lighting up around me, at the Brooklyn Stand. There was even a man hanging around Amanda's kiosk listening in avidly to me telling her about that I'm going dancing and that my corsets cost a lot of money. And I said, that's $97 worth of Jack Daniels I could have been having. Even that man that was listening in kind of did a little smirk, like, they must think I'm a right wally, right? People must think I'm a right fucking wally, and that I'm somehow deserving of second-rate, low-grade trash. They must think that. You on YouTube that watch this must also think that too. But anyway, it is what it is. I'm not accepting second-rate, low-grade trash in my life, because I had a lifetime of that. I was raised by people like that. Thought they were so special and precious with their narcissism and their psychopathology. So I'm sorry when you come to me and you reek of deception and you so cope it, you can't get it together to invite a woman out on a proper date, treat her with any mark of honour or respect or integrity. I'm sorry, but that just stinks like vapours out of my nostrils, like a dragon that just let out all her fire. Happy birthday, by the way, and Merry fucking Christmas. You're happy, you got what you wanted out of it. I don't know what that was, but you must have got some kind of fetishistic, sadistic stimulation. I got nothing. Nothing. Another year played. Well, look, last year and the year before, I just went down deep into my abyss and just rode it through. I can't even believe that I imagined for one moment that this time things might be different. I can't even believe I allowed myself to even dream of that. But that's the grief over my dog. Here he is, my beautiful boy, when he was a puppy. There he is. The only little man that truly loves me and loved me. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. Anyway, here I write 13th of December. I'm not crying over you, by the way, the playing boy. I'm crying over my entire fucking travesty of a life. Okay? It's just another thing, just one more thing that I have to now sail through. And my psychiatrist was trying to be protective, wanting me to give you the flick and, but I've got to exist in the real world. I've got to give people a chance. I've got to strive to allow love. Otherwise, what's the point? Why am I even here on this planet if I don't at least try. So today's readings are entitled, and it's so I know by the title that it's going to be fucking painful. So switch me off if you're not of a strong mental state or gut, or and if you've got Schadenfreude, you know, or you get some kind of orgasmic stimulation by watching a warrior goddess struggle to find love and meaning and success and joy in her life, then I can't help you with that, because I can't stop you from watching my videos. But it says a lot about what kind of an entity you are if you get off on this. It really does. But it's nothing new under the sun. I had entire voyeuristic stalkers for years, 13 years at the casino, watching me reclaim my life every weekend. One popped up the other day through a friend. I've blocked her now. I realised she was part of that little enclave of evil too. The voyeurs that used to watch me dance my wild tribal shamanic dance and snigger and sneer at me, not realising I'm healing myself. I'm living my best life. I'm protecting and nourishing my body by exercise, and I'm in tune with the spirits every single day. You should have seen the video I made on the 11th of December, which I couldn't publish because this also won't be published till later because of a strike by a malfeasant child on YouTube. But anyway, you should have seen, I watched it again the other day, and it accurately predicted that I was going to be dumped by this little trickster game playing boy child, man child. Well, he had his agenda. He probably realised, oh, she's got nothing and no one, and you know, can't use me for anything, so moved on. That's what it boils down to, babies. That's what it boils down to. Agonies and ecstasies, ancestral curses, and coherent post-traumatic growth. Anyway, $97 later, my corsets are ready, and I'll be out in all blazing glory. And by the gods, the way I feel now, some gorgeous, sexy man might even get lucky at my expense, because there's nothing like being used and played for a fool in some sadistic, invidious way for me to reclaim life in the most extraordinary, unusual way. Hasn't happened in 8 years, but I'm just sitting on the edge, as I said the other day in a video, of that diving board, ready to leap into the next chapter of my life. And I can only hope and pray it's with someone genuine and loving and authentic and kind and honouring and generous who follows through. No, there's probably not a man born yet that can handle me anyway. I have to be my own man. I joked about it with my transgender cousin when I saw her last Wednesday, but I might have to just fucking transition and be a man, because even when I'm half dead, I'm more man than most of these men I see out in the world. I don't know what's happened to our society, but we've created weaklings. Weaklings, tricksters, sadists, perverts, game players. And that's on the light end of the spectrum. They descend into worse after that. No worry. Mama T of Titania's realm is reclaiming her life, even in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. I will reclaim and I will rebuild, and the right person for me is out there somewhere. Maybe not in this lifetime, but he's out there. I'll find him, he'll find me, and he won't jerk my chain. And in the meantime, for the next few years, I will dance and keep dancing until I can't dance anymore. And then I will open my arms wide to death and embrace her fully and accept her as my divine right and fate and let it all go. This will all go. Bye-bye, fools, including the fool that is me, that's still hoped out against hope for true love like a gimp. I must be a gimp. I really must be a gimp. It's getting ridiculous, people. 13th of December 2022. I am at Carindale Shopping Centre. You guessed it, chasing Hanukkah candles. Didn't have that problem this year because my beautiful Sally spoilt me again lavishly. None in Coles. I tried emailing Chabad House. It says the email link is broken. I tried calling the rabbi, a strange generic answering machine that does not state if it's Chabad House, and the memory is full. Is there a functioning Jewish community still in Brisbane? Like, seriously? The Chabad stall at Carindale's tiny and shoved in an alley leading to Santa House. Santa's house gets much more traffic, and kudos, but it is always the way in an apocalypse. The old pagan gods would die laughing, but the Jew in me is a tad outraged at the subtle anti-Semitism, as there are no Hanukkah candles to be had. Dear Sally, this is not a hint or request for candles. I'm still very grateful for the gorgeous ones you bought me last year, and this year again, because you're my earth angel, my darling. One of the few earth angels in my life who stand with me and by me and for me, and thank God for people like you. Otherwise I would have died decades ago. Decades ago. I am just astonished that we Jews in Brisbane, in particular we marginalised ones who don't have a shul to buy candles from, are having to struggle to obtain them. It's insane, but it is what it is. Of greater concern is that Chabad House has an entire website and phone number and yet is no longer contactable. Does anyone know if the rabbi is alive and well and still functioning as a rabbi here in Brisbane? It's a tad alarming. Well, I found out he is. I had a lovely chat to him on the phone in May. In fact, he was a new grandfather and he was so thrilled and happy about that. So yeah, that was lovely to connect up. But still, Hanukkah, darlings, Hanukkah. On a happier note, this time of year is intensely triggering for me, and I have acquired my usual Christmaka depression that is intensified by the huge increase in the cost of food, the inability to buy Hanukkah candles, my usual failures to thrive or achieve basic things, yada, yada, yada. That's all, folks. I'm going to see my psychiatrist in person for my debrief tomorrow. And here we are, a year later today. So it's amazing how the pattern is repeating almost within perfect synchronicity. It's the first time in 2 years, so in 2 years I will have seen him. So I will be pleased to lock eyes with him again. It's nothing like talking to someone eyeball to eyeball, soul to soul, right? That's another thing I was suspicious about this dude. Everything was done by text. Probably married. It's probably what his game was. Probably actually married and lied about being single, as men do. Also today at Karen, and also he can't handle me, and also I don't have any money or future, so, you know, it was hopeless from the beginning. I don't even know why I bothered even trying, really. I really don't know why I bothered trying. You know, another poor schmuck who's half out of his mind and incoherent and incapable of being a man to me, to or for me, you know. It's like picking up psychic vermin and fleas, it really is. I'll have to delouse myself later. It's all a bit fresh still, but I'll be right. I'll be right, innit? Yeah, baby. I'll be right. I'll be vibrant and wild on Friday. I can hardly wait. If it was tonight, I would have been out already. Nothing like a good dance to get all that emotion out of you and just recalibrate. I might even dance here at home tonight, put the music on. Oh, I had a spirit message coming home from Amanda's coffee shop with my $97 worth of dry cleaning. It was, and I had to laugh because it's a song my father used to send me he used to send me when I migrated back to New Zealand when I was 12, he was still in Melbourne. He would send me cassettes with him talking and then singing songs and that. And he's so weird and inappropriate, my father. I mean, he really had a fucked mind. The more I think about it, the more mental he really was. But, you know, when you're 13 and 14, it's all a bit over your head, right? He was probably using my tape-recorded cassettes to have digs at my mother, for all we know, because he was obsessed with my mother, even though they'd been separated a long time. So anyway, he sent me this cassette with the song No Aphrodisiac, which now I can't hear it without being triggered, right? So many triggers from my family of origin via music that they can get to me spiritually now. So many fucking triggers. But it's okay because music heals actually. And so I'm driving home, going up Boundary Road, thinking about how fucked my life is and how absurdist it is and how cruel it really is, and that I actually could do with driving off a bridge some days, but I don't have the courage to do that in case I hurt someone else, or worse, don't die and fucking end up intubated in some respirator somewhere while every motherfucker comes over and tries to, you know what, me. That's my worst nightmare. That's why they keep me out of hospital, by the way, people. Seriously, because I'm not safe. So anyway, so I'm driving along thinking, oh, well, here we go. Another day in paradise. I'll be dancing on Friday night. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to push through this paradigm or die. And the song comes on. And I just looked up and thought, is that you, Dad? Is that really you? Guess what the song was? No Aphrodisiac, Like Loneliness, Truth, Beauty, and a Picture of You. Come up for summer, there's room for your dog. And I'm like, not crying, but I'm like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? So you know what I did? I cranked my CD player, my radio in my car right up loud, and I drove home. It's only a few minutes drive to get home. The song was still going when I pulled in my driveway, and I sat in the car and I sang No Aphrodisiac Like Loneliness. You shouldn't leave me alone. There's no aphrodisiac quite like it. Anyway, no aphrodisiac. Well, the last one tuned me up sexually. I don't know how he did it since we never laid hands on each other apart from a very, very brief hug when I met him at the park, because I kept it very fucking asty because I didn't want the situation arising right now when I'm raw and vulnerable and still grieving my dog and still getting over everything, everything, everything. But don't worry, because there's no aphrodisiac like loneliness. Babies. So my poor neighbour, Timsa, you know, it kind of in a weird kind of way, well, used to fancy me a bit. I don't think he does now. I think he's calmed down. I haven't spoken to him in about well over 12 months. But all his windows are open and I'm sitting in my car screaming out no references, like loneliness. I mean, when you think about it, it's a bit fucking surreal, people. It really is surreal. But anyway, that's how I rode through that spirit messenger, pushing my buttons even on the fucking radio waves, because they can. Also, it tells me I'm not finished yet. So, anyway. Also today, this is still back in 2022, people, at Carindale Shopping Centre, I received 2 lovely compliments. A lady in the Terry White Pharmacy commented on my blue copper cuff. She loved it. I told her I made it myself and referred her to my Instagram. Now I feel inspired to make some more like that one, as I was told it was too big and chunky and no one would want one. So here is the proof. A woman thought it was lovely. She liked the blue colours. So here again, whenever I try to make something, there's some malfeasant, lackluster, low-level entity dog turd puts me down and I lose confidence. And I go back to scrabbling in other people's fecal matter until I raise myself up again and say, enough. So I'm not going to wallow in other people's fecal matter anymore. I'm going to have the life I dreamed of. I'm building it moment by moment, breath by breath. Can you tell? So here we go. Then I went into a gift shop that used to be owned by a Jewish man from our community, hoping that they might sell Hanukkah candles. I didn't know the shop had been sold 9 years ago. The young man working there complimented me on my flower and my hair. Very sweet. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say he was a meeting you here today to take you to that castle in the sky? Another trigger song from my childhood, and here it is. I make my own, people, out of silk flowers. And the roses might be faded, and my love life might be jaded. But something beautiful was growing in that space that was debased by knaves. Something truly astonishing and beautiful. So I don't know what, and I don't know when, and I don't know who. But the times are a-changing, babies. More and more I'm seeing it. The love around me, even though it's agape love and platonic love, it's all starting to titillate and unfurl. 12:56 a.m. Yesterday was a very productive day, although I failed to melt the silver for my Yoda mould, so that was upsetting. But I am excited that I have learned a new skill and confident that I can improve on it. Pardon me. When I can afford more sterling silver or fine silver granules, I will try it again. I put the mould aside for now. A lovely refreshing storm had just finished blowing through. I feel much better now the humidity has been lifted, but it's time to sleep. Happy secular birthday to my mother-in-law, Hilda Aarons, who passed away in 1988. I look forward to it 9 days after we arrived here, people. 9 days. I look forward to new magical delights unfolding for me. Good night, Lila Tov, and much love from me to the multiverses, and back again to Malhut, the ground I walk on planet Earth. In the meantime, I have an appointment with the astral. In more ways than one, darlings. 13th of December 2021. I watched 1917, a stunningly poignant, brilliant movie. It came highly recommended by Thomas Sheridan. It is indeed powerful. 11:24 a.m, finally out of bed. I had a hectic few days, creativity overload, like a driven, possessed demon. I felt very mentally unwell, not good at all. I pushed through the angst by working. Yesterday I drilled odd mother-of-pearl earrings, broken ones. I carved out the earring holes so I can reuse them as inlays in timber. I found a cute butterfly one that had one top corner smashed, so I cut both wings so it could be rescued in an inlay piece. Let me show you. I'm not a total loser, people of Earth. I know that men like to make me feel that way, but I'm not a total loser. Oh. This is my grimoire. I made it out of, my daughter gave me these pieces of piano. I think they used to hold sheet music, right? I put glow-in-the-dark resin on it, which is why it looks all lumpy, because it's actually glow-in-the-dark. Already starting to glow up with that little bit of sunlight on it. And that was one of the broken mother-of-pearl earrings that I turned into an inlay. And then I found this lovely button and piece of brass, because I had a lot of junk jewellery left over from my mum. It was my inheritance from her market store, bits of junk, right? But this was actually a nice piece of brass. And I thought, well, that looks a bit Chinesey, so I put a tassel on. And then I'd found this lovely mother-of-pearl button, which quite frankly would make a nice ring actually, or inlaid into something. But look at the colouring on it. So pretty. So I decided to hang that off that. So yes, there we are. And I did the back as well, but I didn't put an inlay on the back of it. Not a complete loser, people of Earth. It's not my fault I'm not loved by people with honour and integrity and decency and respect. It's not my fault I've had a shit life. It's not my fault I've got no money because I was robbed by con artists over and over and over again, including by the state. It's not my fault. I tried hard to exist in this planet. 58 years and 8 months. Yesterday it was exactly 58 years and 8 months old. But anyway, you have to laugh. You do, you kind of have to laugh, because at the end of the day it all becomes absurdist and ridiculous. And real lovers don't treat people like that. You call them out and they're bullshit and they go on the attack. Tells me he was bullshitting, by the way. right? And maybe I'll just have to shake my head. I'll just let it go, shake my head. Leave it where it is. But it was particularly nasty when I messaged him the other day to tell him about my night out, and you know how that young man just burst into tears in front of me, and he said, "Oh, what, was it your irascible wit?" And I thought, why are you being fucking nasty to me? I've done nothing to justify that. You know, like, fuck off, seriously. So, men that run around parks getting cheap thrills, tuning up women that they meet in parks, inviting them for coffee. The coffee shop was closed, by the way. You know, how many other women is he tuning up in parks? That's what's going on, babies. Let's not be delusional. Mama T knows. It's actually quite funny when you think about it, how this keeps happening to me over and over and over again. It's fucking hilarious. One day I will laugh until I die. So where was I? The butterfly that I rescued as an inlay piece. Then I got some sterling silver and made a few jump rings and 4 sets of shepherd's hooks. Making these by hand is time consuming but satisfying. I found 2 matching mother of pearl earrings, so I put silver jump rings and silver hooks on them. I also made another pair of matching ones with silver. The hours flew by, and by now I had some aggravated depression caused by fatigue, but I pushed and pushed through it. I'm not actually depressed at the moment, or maybe I am. No, I'm not depressed. I've just realised it is what it is. People are going to play games, and I have a choice in how much I respond and play back, you know. And there's beautiful men out in the world that will appreciate and value me, and they'll show up in time. Maybe not. Who knows? Around 5 p.m. I started cutting out a beautiful wooden grimoire. Oh, that I just showed you. I made a few years ago with glow-in-the-dark resin. I wanted to inlay the butterfly as a centerpiece and make the carving slightly bigger for more resin, as I was not completely happy with it. After 9 p.m. I quit working on it as the Dremel thingy is loud and poor Charlie could not rest. That's when I had this cheap little mini grinder, which served me well actually, lasted a long time. I used it until it wouldn't work anymore, and then I bought a proper Dremel. So yes, happy with that. I went and sat on the couch, but my mind was racing and I was overstimulated. I watched a movie that was traumatic but also too stimulating. I was tempted to drag the piece of wood into the living room and keep working on it, but I forced myself to relax as I was in a strange headspace and feared my tipping point. Then, of course, I went to bed and could not settle down to sleep. Fuck. Then I woke up fully around 1 a.m. and saw my memories and realised it's my usual Christmas time agonies. Nothing new, Same old triggers. Yuck. After 2 decades of therapy, you would think I would overcome them by now. 2.5 decades of therapy, by the way. So I spent the next hour and a half copying them across to Vocal Media so I can preserve my writings, my memories, and who knows, some wretched soul might learn from my experiential journey to wholeness. It's only taken me 56.5 years, now 58 and 8 months. Yeah, baby. I guess I'm not learning, am I? Round and round she goes, like a fucking doll in a fucking music box. And then I look out my window and all I see, grey, 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 dark blue, grey. That depresses me, people. I'm the psychedelic dreamer. I need to be surrounded by colour, by light, by truest, deepest, most authentic love, by joy, and by shalom. This afternoon, I'm going to visit Lynn, have a lovely swim. Water will settle down my meridians. Water and the comfort of good friends. In the meantime, I need to keep working on that grimoire timber. I want it finished today, if humanly possible. Happiness is making things with the resources you have, spiritual, mental and physical, and turning shit to spiritual gold, like a phoenix rising, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, but up she rises, ready to fly. And here's that grimoire I just showed you, the work in progress. I've made a lot of things around the house that I can take pride in. You know, when everyone else was screaming about dying of COVID and wearing masks and being hysterical, I was busy creating things. My psychiatrist called it manic denial, but kept me busy, kept me off the streets, kept me safe, and gave me some lovely things around the house. 13th of December 2020. The universe will put you back together right in front of the very people who broke you. Babies. She sure as shit does. And it's magical, and it's mystical, and it's marvellous. Absolutely, every time they tear me apart, I reconfigure. Go figure. Move along, motherfuckers. Nothing to see here. Only the Tanya strutting his stuff in the eye of the storm, in a viewfinder of her beholder. Socks is lying amidst the rose petals. La vie en rose. My little beautiful boy. Oh, there they are. Wild weather this morning, lots of rain and wind, but much cooler and a respite from weeks of heat wave and drought. I feel exhausted as I have been overdoing the arty crafty mishigas. I feel cracked and discombobulated, hanging on the edge of a precipice by my toes or teeth. But all good. It's a gorgeous day in spite of the wildness. And what does the Tanya love best? Wildness. I made bread in the bread machine, and this time it almost exploded out of the machine. I added 2 tablespoons of olive oil, so that must have made it puff up more. Look at this loaf of bread. It's the only thing I got out of that connection with Dave Charles was the inspiration to bake my own bread. Because he used to bake his own bread, and I thought, what a lovely idea. I must do that too. So, the proof is in the pudding, babies. The proof is in the pudding. Yorkshire pudding, aight. He didn't come from Yorkshire, I'm joking, confabulating with that. My first driving instructor was a man from Yorkshire, and I knew him as a little girl because my Auntie Lillian cracked a cast iron frying pan over his head because she went home to the Isle of Wight. And while she was there, he was knocking off some other woman. So when she came back, he turned up at our house to see her for some odd reason. She went donk, and I remember 7 years old watching him collapsing in our doorway with great amusement. Well, I had reason to hate men at that age, just saying. But anyway, when I was 16, I was having driving lessons, which were partly paid by my school, Wellington Girls College, and the driving instructor showed up. And I think it was about the 3rd lesson. It took me a while because I hadn't seen him since I was a little girl. I said to him, I know you, George. His name was George. I said, I know you, George. He went, oh, do you? He said, yeah, you seem familiar to me too, Tanya. I said, yeah, I have got this memory of you being knocked unconscious in our doorway by my mad Auntie Lillian, who had reason to be mad at you. I said, I hope the crime fitted the punishment. And he actually looked at me and said, oh yeah, well, he said, it was a bit rough, but I kind of had it coming. He said, I did kind of deserve that. I thought, what a wonderful man, to be real, about the fact that he deserved a good belting. Anyway, he was a very nice man to me, and I got my driver's license. And he ended up renting one of my mother's houses. She had a house and she bought the cottage next door. And so my job was to go and collect rent from him, wasn't it? So that was a bit awkward. My mother was always putting me in these awkward situations. But anyway, nice man. Today's coffee used to call me Love all the time. He'd say, don't mind me calling you Love. It's just that in Yorkshire, everybody calls everyone Love. Love, 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 love. Isn't that right, love? And I'm just like, never been to Yorkshire, so how would I know? Anyway, he did call everyone Love, so he wasn't being sleazy with me. One of the few men that weren't sleazy with me, actually, at that age, at that time of my life, when I was 16. What a relief that is, when a man wasn't fucking sleazy with me. Today's coffee grounds looks like people running or dancing. I mean, I want to cry when I think about my adolescence and my childhood and my current lifestyle right now. I want to cry, but crying won't help me, people. You know, the fucking dead soulless NPC gimps are going to keep coming until I heal. And if I don't heal in this incarnation, it'll keep happening in the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It'll just keep bleeding into my reality until I'm done. I keep saying I'm done, but the gods keep sending me these gimps. I don't know why. Why are you doing that to me? Why? I actually got excited about this one. I got actually excited about a man for the first time in many years. The last time I was that excited over a man, it was Dave Charles, who also was sadistic and cruel. So many cars around, it's just insane. I guess it's Christmas, everyone's got visitors, right? Holidays, coming for holidays and visiting. Anyway, I better hurry up because I've got to see my psych. I've got to leave it in 45 minutes time. I think this section is finished. This was the other thing I was doing. It took a long time to create. My can you even see it? No. Can't quite see it, can you? There we go. My decoupage cases. More cars. Like, what are they all doing? That's a tradie. Gosh, I feel like I live in a superhighway. It's getting really surreal. To take myself somewhere far, far away from the madding crowd and think about my ancestral curse that doesn't seem to ever, ever, ever stop. But there will be great joy in my life again, people. Great joy and wonderful, loving sexual partnership with a man who values, appreciates, cherishes, respects me, and follows through. Parry and thrust, and the gods we trust, as I like to joke about. This is what happens when you tattoo yourself with Yahweh, Aya, Asher, Aya, right? My intentions were honourable. The tree of life, I am who I am, the burning bush, the light that could not be consumed by fire, right? Aya, Asher, Aya, I am who I am becoming. And I'm becoming, all right? But, you know, that energy won't let me have a partner. I wonder why. Is it because they knew from the very beginning that it was just a hard lesson again and another trickster? Hell, even my psychiatrist knew that. He'll be so pissed off that I didn't listen to him. But I'm defiant. And I don't like being controlled. And I like to live my own life, even though I make mistake after mistake after mistake. At least they're my mistakes, you know, not the other mistakes that were inflicted on me by my family of origin, like Michael Aarons and all the other men that were brought into my life. At least now I'm meeting these people on my own terms, and they're my own mistakes. There's a certain honour in that. I did ask him who put him up to it, though, because it worried me that it was yet another setup. Maybe it was, maybe I'll never know. My former mother-in-law's birthday, actually on the third candle of Hanukkah, which falls on 25th of December this year. That was in 2019. Here she is. There's a young woman coming out from Poland. Here she is. She was beautiful. She was also a raging fucking borderline and liked to split between all the family, including my mother and my side of the family. And she had them all hopping up and down, but you know, and she had bulimia as well. She had an eating disorder. It wasn't diagnosed, but we all knew she was bulimic. But she was beautiful as a young woman, and she was kind to me by and large. I mean, by the time I met her, she was elderly and not all that well, and her kids had taken up where she'd left off with the splitting behaviours and robbed her of all her jewellery and was savage beyond belief. I actually had a lot of pity and compassion for the old lady. She didn't deserve the way they treated her the last few years of her life. It was fucking appalling. And that's how I realised I'd married into a family of monsters too. Probably worse than my own family of origin because, well, no, not worse. The greed and the corruption was the same, I guess. I'm in denial, thinking that they were worse than my own family of origin. Robbing me of houses and businesses and stability. You can't get any worse than that, darlings. But the thing with the jewellery was disgusting and vile, and I said I would not be part of it. It was disgraceful. I actually gave it back to her, what she gave me. I went, I don't want any part of this. It's ugly. Really was ugly. Quote of the day, we're all brave until we realise the cockroach has wings. And I wrote, ugh, I hate those things. Big, massive flying cockroaches you get here in Queensland, and they even clack, 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 clack as they fly in. Ugh. Here she blows, rain, yee-haw. Feeling restless, storm building, got dressed, ready to go for a coffee at Amanda's. But Charlie has climbed high in the frangipani tree, and I couldn't get the little bugger to come down. So I can't go out now as I worry he will get hurt in the storm. She's very quiet today. I think she's a bit depressed. I'll have to go and spend time with her later. I've been very busy and distracted with all this unresolved grief that goes nowhere. My energies are twanging all over the place. I just want to run amok. On top of it, it's boiling hot. Grr. So I'm sitting in front of a fan waiting for Charlie to come down and for my life to settle down. Found the last of the coffee bags, so thought, why not? More coffee readings. This one actually looks like a child or a fairy stirring a pot or something. I'm too scared to read my coffee grounds or even look at my tarot cards these days. I actually don't want to know. It's too much. My nerves can't take it anymore. Too much. But on the one hand, I feel all trepidatious and distraught. And on the other hand, I'm like, dancing on Friday. Anyway, my favourite band's playing and they always treat me with sweetness. So I'll have a lovely time. And I'll dance it out. And I'll begin again. And life will go on. Here I've posted a meme. I'll show you the photo, it's quite pretty. It says, don't do it, just don't. Don't be someone you are not. It won't work and it won't make you feel better. Don't live to please others. That is not why you are here. And don't listen to society. It lies. And stop smiling when you want to scream. You are not an actress, and this is not a movie, so don't do it. And I Oh God, do I resonate with that? Smiling when you really want to scream. As my psychiatrist and I used to joke about it, the smiling assassins. Just don't. Do you. And I'm doing me every day, even though I've been done over. I'm still doing me, babies. I might not have any value in these men's eyes. They might think that they can use or abuse or denigrate or delegitimize. But I am me, and I like me, and I fought hard to be me, and that's all that matters. Even though it means probably another 29 years of isolation and loneliness. I'm not afraid of it because I've already lived it. It's not the be all and the end all. It's just a different lifestyle to what most other people are living, surrounded by family and lovers and friends and business associates and having all that support, which I don't have a lot of, but the few people that do support me are wonderful. But it's perfectly okay to feel upset and sad right now, given how much I was tormented. 13th of December 2018. I just remembered it is also soon my dear friend's secular birthday, Sylvia Shine, the woman who arranged for me to meet my husband. Sylvia, that was a bad mistake. She later apologised to me as she had wanted me to have a good, safe, loving life and had no idea what a disaster it would become. I quickly forgave her. Without her, I would not have had Crystal and Jasmine or the few years of financial stability, if not a true love I had in early adulthood. Such is life. Some things come down to fate. She was very supportive of me throughout the years. A good, kind woman. My wild, red-headed, Cockney, Orthodox, Jewish, English Rose. I often come across her loving, supportive comments in my Facebook memories, and it always brings her near to me, as though we are not separated by death or time or space. Love, my friends, good, kind, strong, authentic love is eternal. Here I post a photograph of Cardinal Pell, found guilty of sex abuse, and I wrote abhorrent. Here I post another photograph of my mother-in-law of blessed memory, grandmother to my daughters. And there's a photo of me sitting on the grass, age 13. Very similar. We looked. So my husband was a motherfucker, married. Thought he was marrying his mother because we looked similar. But I did not have her spirit. I would not submit, and I was never docile, babies. She begged me to be more docile. Battered wife syndrome, that. Emotional abuse. Lie down, take it, think of New Zealand or Aussie, right? Not this little black duck. Happy secular birthday, Hinda was her real name, Aarons. I have many fond memories of you, although you have been gone for 30 years. Well, it's more than that now. The sweet way you tried to mother me when I was so sick with bronchitis, stirring up a cup of warm milk, butter and honey to soothe my cough and warm the cockles of my soul. Funny how you mention cough and suddenly I need to cough, right? Weird. The indignant disgust that I refused to eat your much belaboured gefilte fish. What kind of Jew doesn't eat fish? This one, Mum, this one. The way you were so bemused and matter-of-fact about Herschel haunting you for several months after his death, appearing at your bedside as a much younger man in his early 30s, his prime, demanding sex, of all things. How we laughed about that. I explained to her that spirits often come to us in their best version of themselves, perhaps when they were happiest in their life. So a handsome, sexy 30-year-old was to be quite expected. She ran her hands over her head. Gewalt, enough already, and giggled with her deep, deep dimples, girlishly. You have the right to say no, Mum, even now. I giggled too. Men, draying us on the cop, even after death. True love or pestilential stalkers? Who knows for sure? She got angry and would not let me breastfeed Crystal in Harry's big leather lazy boy chair, lest the Dybbuk might possess the infant. Fair enough. I was seeking connection and comfort, but we, the women in my family, had been possessed by enough Dibbukim for several lifetimes. So, no, genug already. I thought the loss of her husband had sent her a tad psychotic, but alas, no. I made her a cup of tea, leaving baby Crystal with Hilda on her bed, and sure enough, witnessed with my own eyes that big old chair rocking by itself. Far out, I nodded in his direction. All right, Mr. Aarons, I'm just making a cup of tea. You carry on. The chair kept rocking, but there was a kind of sparkly energy to it, like when his eyes used to light up with mischief. Oh, and try not to scare Mum with your demands for sex. You know she is not that into you. I giggled, a bit shaken. The demands for sex stopped, but the old chair rocked for a few more months until I suppose he finally transitioned into a better place. I mean, God, you have to laugh. It's insane making, but these are all true stories, people. These are my real lived experiences. Like, full fucking on. Powerful spirits, my parents-in-law. Of course, my own line were also powerful spirits. Powerful and extremely controlling. Hashem, but it was hard to break their grip on me. Love is a powerful thing. Even my former lovers or admirers have trawled past me all year. Like watching those ducks in a circus shooting gallery, only I can only blow them up in my mind, but some were sweet but feckless. So they keep showing up, and I keep observing them as they run past me, begging my acknowledgement like the lost boys they really, truly are. What do they want from the Tanya? My soul, my lifeblood, my joy and my love. Run along, little boys, nothing to see here. You had your moments of ecstasy, burning in my sexual heat, then threw me aside like bad karma, laughing my ass off. No seconds, or in some cases thirds, for you. Burn, baby, burn. Mama T is back in her own sexual power after years of celibacy. She is saving it for a man less foul and stingy and faithless as you, scabby lot. My ancient mothers have my back in a way my mother, sister, and even Hilda never did. Hilda wanted me to submit to abuse for a quiet, easy life, but I chose my own freedom and innate happiness that were kept from me for decades by oppression, poverty, and so much abuse. I do not submit. But Hilda, here I am. I kept my promise to you and Harry. I raised your grandkids Jewish, and they are strong, independent, fine women. I raised myself too. I like who I am now, proud of my tiny, fractalized achievements, my survival to thrival, proud of my heart, proud of my mind, letting life bless me and learning to let go of those souls that did not have my back. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Might as well keep dancing, playing, loving, and becoming. I am who I am becoming. Rough translation of I am that I am, if you tweak the grammar a bit. According to my friend Dr. John Bradley, or Associate Professor Dr. John Bradley, or whatever title he has now. Hilda Aarons, Gisela Phillips, Tanya Aarons, Crystal Aarons, and Jasmine Aarons on the occasion of Jasmine's Brit Chaim, her naming ceremony, which we conducted when she was 1 month of age. And Sylvia Shine's daughter Dion Ginsberg wrote, this was 14 years ago, "Oh my God, what memories. Has Mum seen this pic of Mitzi? And you know I'll forever remember her as Mitzi," which is what everyone called my mother. She did that because it was easier for people to say than Gisela. Lawnmower man been and gone. Oh, that's been another huge stressor. Another one that kept saying he was turning up and then didn't turn up. Like, game player extraordinaire. He's supposedly coming in Friday morning, and if he doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have enough money to pay for a more expensive lawn mowing service. I'm fucked. So I just have to hope and pray that this time, third time lucky, he turns up and does the job, right? It's been awful how I've been treated this week. It's been really awful. I'm really, really distressed and triggered. And you know what? It doesn't need to be this way. I've done nothing to deserve this. Certainly not anything to upset the lawnmower man. It's just the heat, I suppose. Everyone's brains are frying in their head. Anyway, lawnmower man been and gone. Place looks nice. I now have $7 to my name until Tuesday. I had to ring Yui to defer my outgoing debit due today until Tuesday. Phew, lucky. It's a stinking hot day, so I'm relaxing by staying out of the heat and watching TV. 13th of December 2017, 11:11 p.m. What does this all mean? I'm being gifted with signs of importance, and most of all, love. Thank you, God. Watching the Danish girl, marvellous. Crystal is coming back to Brisbane in 4 weeks. So excited. I may not see her for a while, but at least I'll know she is back home, safe again. Well, she might as well move overseas again because we have no connection now. It's all gone, so she might as well fuck off back to Ireland or England or wherever she wants to go. I'm not holding her back. If truth be known, I should fuck off to England or Ireland, but no money, how would I support myself? It's just not viable. The only way out of this existence is death, people. It's the only way. And yet every day I choose life and like a silly little schoolgirl hope that some man will fall in love with me and care about me one day. You know, not necessarily live with me because of, my sleep apnea and all those issues, but just love me and be kind. Is it really that hard? Is it really that impossible? It must be. I had a lovely afternoon with Jenny out in the garden, even though we sat under the sun umbrella. We both got a bit sunburnt. Oops, we had afternoon tea, pavlova and donuts, lots of chats and cuddles with Charlie and Bobo. Clary came a day early to mow the lawns, which looks great now. Clary, who was fucking creepy most of the time. But I'm always grateful when the lawns are mowed because it stresses me out when they get out of control, because I was once charged $1,000 by housing to get it under control, right? Viciousness beyond belief. I also had a nice time with Jared on Monday practicing ukulele. I think I need to go and throw up. I'm having a post-traumatic wave of nausea. I'll be all right. I can do this life. I've been doing this life a long, long, long time. I also had a nice time with Jared on Monday practicing ukulele. We went to Miss India for dinner just before closing time, so the lovely lady gave me 2 free samosas and a pakora, very spoilt. So there are kind people out in the world, people. I have to constantly, daily, moment by moment, remind myself of this. Second night of Hanukkah, alas, poor Tanya, we knew her well, but in her denigration and poverty, she failed to purchase candles. Oh my goddess, you have to laugh. It's not even half the time poverty, it's just I can't find them and I give up. Please light the flames of freedom from oppression, suppression, depression, poverty, loneliness, marginalisation, and pray that the Holy One blesses me with a glorious and beautiful future, because after all, there's no aphrodisiac like loneliness, babies. I threw that in because you got to laugh. You got to have a bit of a laugh. A flame of the heart sealed and kissed and endowed from the mind, sponsored and mollified and bestowed in this body that craves true love, fealty and honour and intimacy, like a drug that cannot be consumed by the fires of hell and obliteration. Have mercy and compassion for the burnt-out husk of the Tanya. Forgive her inability to thrive in a world that is so corrupt and salacious and cowardly. Thank you to the humans and gods that love me no matter what or how far I have fallen from the edification of your name, which is emblazoned on my left arm next to my heart, like the tefillin a Jewish man dons each and every morning, except Shabbat, swearing allegiance to the Holy One, the Ein Sof Or that comes to us in light and might and smites our enemies, nightmares, failures, complex PTSD, and blesses those who never quit believing in goodness and purity, even while we stumble and crumble in the dirt. Love me, the lost and broken and forgotten, the abandoned, rejected and dejected, the lonely one who cleaves to her beloveds like a limpet on a storm-tossed rock, stoic, stupid, sublime, or should that be subliminal? Whom is running the show, this calamitous, cacophonous speakeasy of the Tanya? No idea, but here we go. Love me, leave me, and go forth and prosper. But look back at me and remember who showed the way from the Garden of Eden and followed the river of Styx from the house of bricks into the house of timber that belonged to the land and the country, but housed the sick and disturbed Tanya and healed her in a slow and burdensome process. But here we go, for me fucking Dabla. "1:11 p.m. on my microwave clock. My iPhone says 1:07 p.m. Next year is going to be huge for me. I am a master number 11 and 2018 makes 11. Perhaps I will finally get a break from the universe as I will be synced up with the cosmic vibe. Okay, Gregorian Christian vibe, but that energy of mastery and mystery remains regardless of the calendar in vogue. I pray the gods bless me with all my dearest dreams manifesting in a positive, benevolent, life-enhancing way. I will be 53, number 8, so 8:11 makes 10. Oh yeah, because 19, 1 and 9 is 10, which makes 1. Still a powerful omen to live under from April on, because I'm a master number 1 in my, is it my birth date? I think it is. No, my birth date is a 3. Can't remember where I got the 1 from. Anyway. Oh, and 1/1/2018 equals 11/11. I should buy a lotto that day. It is going to be a very powerful day. Hold on to your Volina Gutkas, itchy, scratchy woolen knickers. It's going to be a soaring takeoff into the stars. Love, success, happiness, to infinity and beyond. Update, 13th of December 2018. It has been a good year indeed. Very powerful, like a jet engine, powering up, preparing for a flight. Lots of people leaving my life, but lots of new people encountered too. I am inviting people who are more on my wavelength, finding more and more people catching onto my vibe, feeling less alone in a crazy world. I had some scary weeks with gallstone attacks and nerve pain early in the year, but that seems to have settled down in the past few months. On waiting list for gallstone surgery and waiting for another colonoscopy. But life keeps marching on, and I have loved going back to ecstatic dance. I am maintaining my own power as a woman, loving life in spite of my many foibles and soul-sucking whirlpools and stargazing leaps of faith. And here she is, end of 2023. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Still in the same soul-sucking whirlpool and stargazing leaps of faith. Going nowhere. Oberon, king of the forest fae, weaving his magic on those who honour him, come what may. There he is. I think that one I gave to Jared. Jared's got Oberon. Just kind of amusing since he's my best friend and my name is short for Tatiana, or the English version of is Titania. Not that we were ever lovers or anything like that. But yeah, Oberon is Titania's husband. You know, the king of the forest, and she is queen of the forest. Fae. 13th of December 2016. Let's face it, I've been off with the pixies since the day I was born, really. Maybe I'm part fae myself for real, living up to my name, right? Oh well. The fairy folk are hard taskmasters. When they drive me with the silversmithing, they drive me really hard. I had to ask them to back off. But I made a pen out of a sterling silver handle yesterday. It came up quite lovely. So I made that yesterday, and I made also some links for a chain that I'm finishing off. So I worked quite hard yesterday, and today I didn't sleep all night, and I was up peeing all night, and I upset myself over the last friendship dying, and upset myself because I had high hopes because I'm crazy like that. And so it's all on me. I take responsibility for my craziness and my emotions. And so I spent all night grieving and upsetting myself. But today I thought, well, fuck it. I've got to go and get my corsets, and had a coffee at I met her son, nice young man. He was, and her mother, and he was just taking her back from a cataract checkup after having her cataracts done. And I said to Amanda's mother, I said, I don't know your name. She said, Agape. And I went, oh, what a lovely name. Agape love, the highest form of love there is. She said, oh, you know about that. And I said, oh, yes, I do. But what a pretty name to give your daughter. She's Greek. So, yeah, agape love. And her grandson was gorgeous. He said to me, my name is Yanni, but everyone calls me Johnny. I said, are you being good, Johnny? Are you being Johnny be good? And he laughed. I said, I actually prefer your Greek name, Yanni. It's much nicer. And he nodded. You know, and they're a lovely, happy family. They are sweet people. Amanda was very distressed to hear that Beauregard had passed, because she was on holidays when that happened. And I said, I thought about texting you. I said, but I knew you were on holiday, and why ruin your holiday with that negativity? There's nothing you can do about it. But I haven't been there for coffee in 4 months, so she didn't know, and it came as a shock, 13th of December 2016. Decluttering efforts. 2 huge teddy bears and a sheepskin dog donated to Salvation Army. 1 theatre system, 1 keyboard and mouse. The house is feeling lighter already. I still need to smudge and salt my place. I pinched a nerve in my lower back, so I've had a hot shower and am retiring for the night. 13th of December 2015. My entire life, this is a trigger warning, people, so switch me off because it relates to CSA and suicide. So switch me off if you can't cope, and I understand it because I don't cope all that well with my life either, but I have no choice. I'm living it. I'm living this dreaming, this psychedelic dreaming that spirals up and spirals down throughout the day. My entire life I was frequently told I was useless by my former husband, who 2 weeks into my marriage offered my mother to take me back, which she gleefully delighted in telling me. Like, they really were sadists. I was also told I was stupid or insane by my mother and or father, fat and ugly, again husband. Boyfriends and or lovers tried to kill me, literally. Many, many women friends damaged or betrayed me. So I've reached the conclusion that either I was born lucky or I have something very precious going on that people either want for themselves or have tried either to imitate or immolate. What it is, I may never know. Purity, light, courage, love, jumbled up with fury and confusion and occasionally hate. Forgive myself for being a beautiful little girl and now a wild woman who knows she deserved and always will deserve the best that life has or had to offer. For still trying to make it, be it, do it, overcome it, for living through it, past it, over it, getting around it, but always to find another wall higher than before. Then in true Tanya style, Aries here, punching a hole in that wall and skinny dipping and surfing in the deluge that seeps through the puncture. Not drowning but waving, then landing ignominiously on some embankment, breathing, gasping, sucking the last vestiges of hope and truth and love. Hack, hack, cough, then up and running on nothing but hopes and dreams while una reveling. A stitch in time saves 9. But the angels have my back, so I pull myself together by my invisible silver thread, and on it goes, endless waves of storm and drung, songs sung, blue and loony tunes. If my life couldn't get any weirder, they make a mockery of everything I say, live for, dream of, they being the universe. 'Cause there's no aphrodisiac like loneliness, babies. And you know what? Until I met this man, I actually didn't feel that lonely. So that's kind of fucked, isn't it? Certainly didn't feel horny either. So thanks for lighting that up, you mischievous brat. Some other man will be reaping the benefits of that fire you lit up underneath me, though. The best revenge is happiness. Whoopi Goldberg starring as God. Shh, don't tell her. That woman is way too opinionated. Funny, savvy, but annoying as hell. However, I have always liked the idea that God is a woman and she is black. That is how I used to confront my fundamentalist Christian friends in my youth. They were racist homo xenophobes. The idea that God was a black woman and that Jesus was a Semitic, dark brown Jew used to make them go berserk. I rather enjoyed that. Oops, sorry, forgive me. I digress on the woman's digress that was my life. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, peace on earth and in the upper worlds. A star is dying, but a new one is being born. Crash, clang, bam, go the Sephirot. Oops, the sperm met the zygote in a pocket full of crazy and made me. To Gisela and David, thanks for everything, or not, as the case spelt CEES, which is my stepfather Cornelis van der Graaf's name, or as the case may be. Gisela, David, Angela, Grant, Trevor, Cornelis, Case, and last but not least, Buck Shearer. My authority figures, fuck you all. Oh, then let me see. Gila, Terry, David Davidson, the Shearer sisters, I hope you all rot in hell. Now for some happy thoughts. I am alive. I am relatively sane. I am happy, in spite of those aforementioned people. I forgive you all. No, I don't actually. I don't know what I was thinking back then. I must have been off my chops. Not because you deserve it, but because you, with your epic greed, cruelty, and salacious lust and lies, pedophiles, and in the case of the latter men, misogyny. Did I mention greed? They all worked together to destroy me. They all hoped I would just die. So now what? What? Why? When? If not now, how long must I wait? For Godot? For a piece of string to tie them in a knot? To untie my attachments to their evil crimes? Parry and thrust, in God I trust, a God who bestowed greatness upon me. At what cost? Unimaginable, priceless cost. You can't bottle it, buy it or sell it. They all tried. As my true love, unrequited, once told me, I am rich in spirit. It is enough. I am enough. I matter. My comment from earlier today, a trigger. I realise that I repeat the same vignette over and over. There are so many other examples from my life, but that one was the most powerful. I have never before felt powerful over my abusers, and never before had I had validation, backup from another adult, in that case, Mrs. Robertson. This is why I perhaps prematurely referred to the rabbi as a troll. His science is flawed. While much older children, 10 to 12-year-olds or teenagers, may be able to yell no and either throw something or run like hell, the imbalance of power in the child's family home makes fighting off a pernicious offender rather hopeless. I myself vividly remember at 10, while visiting my birthplace and literally being stalked by my paedophile godfather at my friend's home in Island Bay, where my mother sent me from Melbourne for the summer school holidays as I was desperately homesick for my friend Lynn and home. Pushing Trevor backwards down a small step that led from their kitchen to the living room, he fell backwards on his behind. Instead of me being punished for pushing an adult and close family friend over, my host and beloved second mother, Mrs. Robertson, asked him to leave. She too had noticed his constant visits and demands to take me on outings to have alone time with me. To be fair, he was not sexually abusing me at that age. He had already done that 4 years earlier, but I was not going to go there again, which provoked my violence and aggression to gain space from him. Did it end? No. He persisted in visiting me even when we moved back to Wellington when I was 12 going on 13 for high school. He bought me a horse when I was 14, a ploy to have a shared experience with me as an excuse for ongoing contact. I was fated like a courtesan, dressed beyond my age and basically trained by my core family to live in a world of men's desires and men's wishes. I barely had an identity of my own. What I did have left, I had to fight for: survival. Whilst his particular sexual abuse ended for me when I was almost 8 after I literally fought to avoid alone time with him, learnt to say no without actually saying it. It was fraught and difficult. My mother exacerbated the situation by getting violent with me when I begged to leave the house and go 3 doors up to the Robertsons. I knew no safety other than that as a child. Without Mrs. Robertson's unconditional love and meagre attempts to hide or protect me, she feared my mother almost as much as I did. I would have suicided as a young teenager. So forgive my rage and passion when so-called experts try to blanket the ongoing fire that is child abuse with ridiculous ideas that are rarely helpful in real-life situations. The one child they use as an example that said no and stopped the abuse possibly went quietly or not so quietly insane with trauma as I did, and the adult in question became afraid he would be exposed. Lucky kid. I was not so lucky. So I speak for the thousands of kids each year who cry, vomit, self-harm, become volatile, scream no in 1,000 different ways, but are not heard, not even by health professionals or their education system for that matter. End of rant. I really should stop advocating for survivors like me of child sexual abuse. It makes me feel suicidal to dredge up my past memories. Bottom line, no one gives a fuck. They make ad hominem solutions that are unrealistic, as in the Jewish task force in Victoria, or demonise me as insane or obnoxious when I speak my truth from my own experiences, or they delete my comments. This shit kills me. To be almost 51 years old and to live in a world of platitudes and or ignorance makes me ponder, what did I survive for? Nothing ever really changes. Only a few brave souls have the guts to fight the ongoing abuses. I didn't die on the 22nd of August, 2015. And there will be many who wished I had with my outspoken defence of the underdog. What to do? I have merely survived at times, if only as an act of rebellion. I almost died as an act of rebellion at systemic abuse by the Queensland Police and Casino. To die or not to die, to live or not to live. I died a long, long time ago. But my heart went on. I kept living for the hope of children, then for grandchildren I shall never see, then for myself, then for the hope of a better, safer world. I live my idealistic psychedelic dream on a wish and a prayer, a spit and a polish to fuck or fight my way in a man's world. None of that for a long time now. Perhaps that is what is wrong with me. Anyway, off to Byron Bay tomorrow with my beloved friend Jared. He is one of the very, very few people in my life who has stayed true and who gets me as a person. Lucky, blessed woman to have such good friends in my life. I keep thinking of famous female writers, successful published ones, like Virginia Woolf and Sylvia Plath, who suicided with all their success inside them. What is my only success? Happiness? Survival? Beautiful grown daughters who have long ago outgrown me. My garden, my pets, my few close, loyal, loving friends. What else? Functioning brain, heart and lungs, even if trauma has messed up my stomach and bowels. Not much asthma this year, but obstructive sleep apnea is enough to deal with. My body has overridden certain illnesses to keep me alive. For what? For what vainglorious, mediocre end? Probably Alzheimer's like my mother. Scary prospect. But then my father, my progenitor, is still running around at almost 87. What if I live to be really old? What cruel hell would that be? To live in trauma and depression another 30 or 40 years? Can I really be that selfish? To inflict my cosmic signature on this existence for another 30 or 40 years? I don't even want this, but some angel with a bent sense of humour keeps me going and keeps sending me false feckless men, by the way, to titillate me and give me false hope. I wonder, why? The eternal why, to which the answer is always because. I am so tired of because. Be cause. Causation after effect, blunt affect, death-like repose. The sleeping beauty gets happy and dances herself to death in her red shoes, but on the way to oblivion she respires, inspires, inquires, and conspires to kick-start the mottled, mottled throttle of her personal bike. Take a hike. My bike, my like, my psyche. Beauregard says, Mama's been cray-cray today, but I still loves her. And on that note, I'm going to cut this short because I'm late going to my psychiatrist and I cannot let him down. He is the one man that has had my back in the last 13 years in a professional capacity, and without him I wouldn't have been to a urologist because he fought for that, and I probably wouldn't be alive. And here's my little Sophie, and yeah, the rest is just pappy stuff about my pets, but that was powerful, people. Oh, there's so much more. But maybe I'll make a part 2. I've really got to go. Love to you all. Stay sane, stay safe, stay beautiful, stay wild, stay fierce, stay free. Always and forever, to your very last breath. Never let the bastards grind you down. From Tanya Aarons at Titania's Realm, Sacred Space.